Good afternoon, everybody. Just getting all organized here. It's rainy here today, so good day for scrapbooking or crafting of any kind, I think. I mean, I would literally craft any day, but um, rainy days especially, it just feels like you gotta craft. So how's everybody doing today? My youngest daughter has been volunteering with a program, but they needed to come home because of the rain, so I had to go grab her. But she's been enjoying summer so far, and um, the weather has really been quite nice. And we've been busy with soccer, um, lots of stuff. My other daughter's been camping, and then my oldest daughter, I've been with her and my grandson to the splash park. So I feel like we're enjoying a summer, which is nice because it goes so quickly. So I thought we would look at this Simple Stories um, book fair collection, really cute, and then we'll do a really quick scrapbook page. I've got my youngest daughter's school photo from last year, and I cut out one of the journaling cards. And then we have a base of Creative Scrapbooker Superstock, and I've just added a black mat here. I used just a Pinterest sketch. Really like starting with a sketch. I'll show you guys the sketch. So I just searched, not that one. That one is the July sketch for Creative Scrapbooker, which would also work with the two photos. But let me just see here, see where we're at. Okay, here we go. This is one I found on Pinterest. And if you're interested in looking at the July or at that July sketch, it's with the Creative Scrapbooker Super, not the Super Stock. This is the Super Stock. It's with the Sketchy Challenge group on Facebook, and they have a new sketch every month. But I thought I would kind of use that sketch from Pinterest. I searched up two photo sketches and got a lot of different options. And I find sometimes it just gives me a different layout option, hi Tina, than I would get just kind of positioning the papers by myself. So I find that helps speed up things. So we have this book fair collection kit from Simple Stories. It's really nice, back to school themed products. We've got lots of references for books in there. So if you're a reader and you want to document that, you can do that as well. And this is in the Scrap Shot store right now. So I have used this already and done a layout. So there's a couple things that are missing. I've got some of the cut apart sheets that I already went ahead and cut apart. I love that they've got these little composition books in here as cut aparts. So I have cut these out of um, one of the cut apart sheets. You always get a 12 by 12 sticker sheet, which is great. I'm just going to tell my daughter that is Coco wanting to come up? Oh, the dog I've blocked the dog off from upstairs, but I think she hears my voice, so I'm not sure how long that'll last. We've got lots of sentiments and borders and lots of images that match those papers. Hello, Marie. And then we have papers. And like I said, I did cut into some of these. I love these. They just are so fun and just so reminiscent of vintage flashcards. Then you've got kind of that composition notebook backing on that. We've got a page that I've actually seen on the Simple Stories Instagram or Facebook that a lot of people have cut these pencils out and then used them on their layout, which would be really fun. You could also just make a layout on this background. That could be a nice quick layout. And then you have the pencils on the other side. We've got the tag cut aparts, which I really always like tags. And I feel like this could be, you could cut these tags out and make a fun little tag booklet with little pictures of things that happen at school. That would be really fun as well. Then we have the 3x4 cut aparts. The library card is always my favorite, and I find that they normally do put some kind of library card in their collections. Hi, Jennifer. Lots of great sentiments as well. And then the plaid background. And then we have, that's another couple of the 4x6 cut aparts. Simple Stories also has the flip books, which would be really great for using those with and putting in the pocket pages. And then this cut apart here, we've got 4x4s and the little mini ones, the 2x2. So those are cute. And these look great just on the page as well. And then we've got, this is kind of a journaling cut apart, journal elements. This is so fun with the tests that they color in the circles. I think you could probably do something fun with this, like, fill in the circle for and create a little answer key kind of thing. Hi, Janice. And then lots of areas where you can write journaling. Really cute. And then a yellow plaid for the background of that. This paper is one that I already cut into, has all those fun school icons as well as a stripe. Hello, Heather. This one, love this one with the bookshelves, and I cut off a row of bookshelves for the other layout I did. That is a really great background. And then we've got some paper, some lined paper with this pretty floral. I think I would use this for a background, put my paper or my photo here, and then a really cute paper airplane background, which is cute. And this one I thought we would use today. We've got the rulers as well as this green background. And then this one, the striped paper. So I thought we'll use this. I also really like the red plaid. So I think I like when there's lots of, like, this is kind of a school themed collection, but you could easily do so many things other than school themed with these papers. Then we've got the foam stickers. So these have that they have a really good adhesive on the background. They are foam, so they have a little bit of dimension and lots of great sentiments. I mean, something like good job and keep dreaming. This number one, that could be a sports one. These could be for anything. First day can be first day of anything. We've got a way to go, fantastic, best friends. So sometimes just looking at these that I usually use for titles, books, that could just be a book theme one, gives me some ideas about pages that I want to do and ways that I can use this collection that's not specifically just a back to school theme. And then the journal bits are a whole bunch of ephemera that have areas for journaling, as well as some little sentiments that you can pop on there, some tabs. And we've got some coordinating enamel dots, which are glossy and have a really fun shine to them. Hi, Kathy. So we're going to pull out this paper and this paper for now. We'll start with that. And just looking at that sketch. So again, that was the sketch that I saved from Pinterest. We're going to do a couple strips of paper, which I wouldn't have thought about doing, and then we'll fill in the other things with other pieces from the collection. And I'm going to grab my trimmer. So I cut this black mat to 9.5 inches wide, and then layered it on the white Creative Scrapbooker Superstock background. Hello, Kim. And so I want a piece that I'm going to do it about 9.25, and then I'll cut this down. So I'll start with that at 9.25. And I guess I could, I don't really have to like cut across the whole thing. So let's see. If I want it to be a little more than half, we'll do it maybe at 5. So 5 inches by 9.25. So if you were not following our social media, which you probably were because you're on here, we opened up our registration for Scrapaganza. I cut this at 5, which is our Calgary crop in the fall. And there's a post just below this one, and that will show you all the details. Okay. So we opened up our registration, and we've got spaces for cropping. I should turn this around the other way. I'll just turn it. And then we also have shopping passes if you don't want to crop and you decide that you just want to come and shop for the day, which is also super fun. So similar to the Creative Scrapbooker Carnival, it's more of a scaled down. It's in the same place in Calgary, and you can book a seat for cropping, have your table, bring your stuff for the Friday and the Saturday. If you go to scrapshotz.com on the main website, it'll give you the link to pick up those passes if you want a 2-for-1 day pass, or if you want to purchase a seat for cropping. They probably won't last very long. I know not last year they sold out really quickly. So if you're thinking you do want to come, then I would say grab your spot now. So this is what this is going to look like on this side. And then I want a piece of the green paper for the background, but I also want to cut off a strip of this, and this is going to be a border. So I think I'll cut off the strip first. And let's see. And then we can measure where we're going to cut the other piece. Let's just get rid of this branding strip. So we have make and takes, and we have prizes that you can win, and it's just such a nice weekend. Everybody has so much fun, really relaxing, and we would love to see you there. I'm just going to tell my daughter she can let the dog. You can let Coco come up, but if she's barking, you come get her, okay? You can let Coco up, but if she's barking, you come get her, but don't let her by the front door. Don't let her in the front door. Coco has decided she needs to be everywhere that's close to me, so Sometimes that's a little difficult. Okay. Yes, good girl. Lay down. Lay down. And this is going to be, you're going to go down if you bark. So lay down. Lay down. Lay down. Okay, so let's trim this first, and then we'll cut off the little banner piece. Nope, no barking. And then, okay, she's gonna have to go. Sorry. Yeah. And this one, sorry. Can you come get her? Yes. This one we're gonna cut at, let's measure this. About, we'll cut it at 5 again, and then we can just decide where we want to overlap it. She's running around like a maniac. Some days I feel like this house is a gong show. Okay, we'll trim this, and then we'll still have pieces left. I'm just trying to think if this is what I want to do. Oh my goodness. It is a game now of catch me. Okay, so this we're going to use the other side of the paper. We can go ahead and attach what's left over. We'll attach these. So I think we'll probably do this. What I normally do as well, if I'm working with a collection, I'll pull out some inks that I feel like work well. I don't know if I'll use the ink on this page, but I did pull out Crushed Olive, Broken China, and Lumberjack Plaid. I think if I'm going to edge this though, I'll probably grab maybe a, my word, maybe like a brown. And that's more of just a neutral, but just to add a little bit of a brown color. So maybe this frayed burlap. And this, and we can move this. And I still like the look of just edging my backgrounds and my cards sometimes. How's everybody's summer going? Do you have any plans to go away, or are you just hanging around? I think we're going to stick pretty close to home. Like I said, my youngest is doing some volunteering throughout the summer. Here, we're going to do this. And just maybe do some day stuff on the days that I'm not working. So we can layer this down. Hello, Josanne and Lynn and Eleanor, Laura. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we'll put this one down first. I've got the scrapbook adhesives by 3L. This is their Easy Runner, the little small one, and it's refillable. And I'm just eyeballing this, although I did use a grid ruler to make sure that the back or the black background was on straight. And then I figure I can kind of position this just using that as a guide. So I think I'll put this way. Do you guys scrapbook your kids? You have kids' photos from school, their school photos. Do you scrapbook them? Okay, this is kind of according to that sketch, I think. I'm going to go back to that. And then this is going to be placed here. Let's see. Just going to bring it so I can see them both. Oh my gosh. Okay, so they've got this little banner kind of like that. And then what I do want to make sure before I start gluing this down, so I think this goes pretty much to the edge. So I'm going to cut it right around this mark here, 1 1/4. I'm just going to grab my small trimmer for this. Trim that down, and then we can trim out the banner part. So if we go to the center, can you take her downstairs? Okay, this is 2 1/4, so that would mean 1 1/8. That's where I'm going to mark it at. Let's mark that. And maybe this will be, I'm marking the center of this little banner. That's going to be right there. And then I'm going to use my ruler because I feel like otherwise I never quite get it straight. I mean, using a ruler doesn't guarantee that I'm going to get it straight for some reason, but it will be give me a better chance. There, that looks about right. All right. Hey, Penny, how are you doing? Janice is working on the outside garden and Christmas cards. Well, it is July, and I feel like Christmas in July, you have to do a little bit of Christmas stuff, right? Okay, so we've got our little banner. That looks pretty good there. I'm going to add a little bit of inking around the edge. If I was doing some stenciling, then I think I'd use those matching colors that I brought in, but I'm not going to do any stenciling today. Okay. And go back to my sketch again and just kind of look to see. I don't have to position it exactly that way, but if sometimes it just gives me an idea of how I can, and then I end up moving things around. So I'm thinking this is going to be kind of how this is, and let's find a title for this. So I was thinking Could do school rules or it's time to learn. That would work well there. I feel like maybe a title that's long. I do like this every day is a fresh start. That could be there. The fantastic or learning. Maybe we'll go with the learning. I like that it's on that background of the ruled paper. And then what I also want to figure out before I get things in, I might move this up a little bit because I do want a little bit of a journal card on here. And when I'm using ephemera, usually what I do is I dump it all out. Sometimes I'll put it in a little bowl and I'll go through it and just if there's any pieces that I feel like I want to pull in, then I'll, set them aside. There is a few that's like could be layering pieces that maybe, or I like these little banners. I love this star banner. Also at the top of that sketch, they had a few things kind of coming down from there, and I haven't really decided what I want to put there, but I also want a little, like that could go there, and then the learning, just for a little bit of journaling. These are cute. They're like little library card tabs. This could be a field trip if the kids were on a field trip and you wanted to document that. If we want to just grade, this was grade 7, so if we wanted just to say grade 7, we could do one of those. Kind of actually like the red, that pop of red, that maybe. And that way to go is fun. The schedule, I love that. Also, I'm looking for a little bit of a tab that I can put here, and if I bring in the red and then the red, that will work. There's also this kind of notebook one there, but I feel like that works better. I feel like once you look at it, you kind of, whether it's the book fair. We actually do have pictures from one of the book fairs because we volunteered with the school librarian. So I'm going to have to dig those photos out as well. Hello, Glenna. Lunch break. And it even kind of gives you ideas about things that maybe you haven't documented before. Like, I don't think I've ever taken a picture of their lunch and, kind of they have these bento boxes and they get filled with all kinds of fun things. And that would be fun just to document and have because, you forget or, okay, so I think we're going to go with this and then this learning. Although I am kind of liking that fresh start, but okay, I'm going to go with what I have. I also think that there's probably a million combinations of things, but if you find something that you feel like will work, I think you should just do it. Because sometimes we can spend so much time thinking, well, maybe that's not the perfect thing to put on there, and then you spend so much time doing it that you're exhausted from trying to figure out what you're doing rather than making your page and enjoying having it done. Okay, and then I can put these on. This I'm just going to line up right with the bottom of that ruler. That makes it easy. And what I want to have is I want it a little bit past this border, but I want it in a little bit from the end. So that's how I'm positioning that. And then this one is going to be up a little higher, but also it's going to be out past. And that's something like I wouldn't even have thought about doing it if I wasn't looking at the sketch. Do you guys find that you use sketches? Do you like using sketches? There. And then that will go here, but I think I'm going to pop that up. So let's put a piece of foam adhesive. That is from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. Okay, that's going to go there. This I will write grade 7. And then what I do like about these is that they're on clear acetate. So if you wanted to cut a few apart and then see how they looked, that's a good way to kind of put them on and see what you like. I love this font that the books are written in. I have lots of pictures, especially of my middle daughters. I want, deciding if I want to overlap that. I'm not going to worry about overlapping it, but I am just putting it again along that line. And then let's put this on here. Was anybody else doing some Christmas card? I'm not going to press that down yet because I'm thinking that we should come in maybe with some stickers. We also have some little elements with these here. And then we have on the sketch, it has an area that is tabs kind of or banners coming down here, and I haven't really decided what I want to do with that. So I'm going to pull out the sticker sheet and also just have a look. If you had some banner dies too, that would look nice just to cut out some banners, maybe with some stitched edging. Janice says she's new to scrapbooking and seeing other people's layouts is the way to go. I'm not sure why Coco's barking. Helps visualize and feel less overwhelmed. I agree. And I think scrap lifting is a wonderful idea to do too. And especially if you're starting, if you see a layout that you like, when you do it, you kind of realize, oh, I like, a grid effect, or maybe you like more of like a mixed media in the background and then the photo over top. But by recreating that, you're kind of experimenting and figuring out what you like. And I think, that's why my inspiration is out there. And I think there's so much inspiration on like Simple Stories or lots of different companies, and they want you to try that. They want you don't have to recreate something new every time. You can take an idea and make it your own. So here, this dog is driving me bonkers today. Okay. I'm just seeing if there's anything that I kind of want to add at the top. Let's do this because I think we could even maybe a tag or something. This would be cute, like one of these. Looking good. Or I'm going to see what I think this tag would look like up here. That almost might work. Or even a tag and then a few things layered on, maybe. Like the composition book. Reach for the start, chocolate glass, that's cute. Do I like the blue or the red? I almost feel like the blue. Okay, I'm going to cut off this and we'll see if that works. If not, we'll just create a few little banners with some colors of cardstock. But I always like using these tags, and so even if I have a few cut apart, I will use them at some point. And the ones that I don't end up using the image on the front, then you've got this journaling area on the back or an area to cut and use to put photos on, which I also like to do. All right. And that little owl is so cute in the collection. We could definitely, I mean, you can cut any of these images out too. If there's an image that you like, go ahead and cut it out, fussy cut it, and create a little embellishment. Okay, I'm going to get a hole punch. Sometimes if I create a cluster or something, I do like the Tim Holtz tiny attacher. And I have had this crocodile punch, I swear it's been like 18 years probably. So maybe this is still a maybe. I'm not 100% sure if I want to do this. It might be a little bit too big for what I'm thinking. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'm feeling like it's not really going to match there. So I think that I'm just going to add maybe some papers and cut some banners. How old Coco is? She was a year in April, so like a year and June, July, 3 months. So she's still a puppy. Yeah, I'm thinking that idea is it's not really doing it for me. I could use this and just cut part of it off and make a banner. But let's see. I've used that paper. Let's go with maybe we'll do this paper, the front and the back. We'll do a little strip. And now she's done. She's tired and she's just probably sleeping. So let's cut this off and we'll have a look at this. And I find that I store my collections in a bag, and so I will just store them together so that the stickers and the paper, unless they're older and I've kind of gone through and used, she is a cutie. If I've gone through and used a bunch of the collection, then I might take everything apart kind of thing. But normally I'll just have everything in a bag. So if I know, I want to do some back to school or books or something, I just grab it and everything's in there that coordinates. But you can mix and match. Okay, so this is 6. I don't want it exactly half, so I'm going to cut it at 3.5 and 2.5. And I'm also going to cut this one down a little bit. So this one is a little bit longer and thinner, and this one is a little bit wider. And then we'll make that into little banners. I think that'll also look a little bit better because there's a banner over here. And let me show you a picture of Coco because she's really cute. And she knows it, so she gets away with a lot. But let's see. There's a picture of her sitting outside on the chair. She's so cute. Okay. Again, I'm gonna grab my ruler if I can find it. If you guys saw the mess just from this, like me creating this layout that I literally had all the supplies here for, and they completely spread apart or spread out. Okay, was not sleeping. So this is 2 inches. So let's just come in, make our mark at 1 inch. And then make our little banner here. I have this mechanical pencil and I just find it's so nice. I do lines for journaling with it and it's so nice and sharp. We'll trim that. And then let's do the same thing. So this one is 1 3/4. So this is making me use math. This is what I'm going to do to cheat a little bit is I'm just positioning it equally between 2 and then marking it at the 1 inch. I am actually good at math, but you know when you're like sometimes focused on something else and you just need it to be easy. And then we'll trim this one. I like this striped paper. I love the colors. And if you're making something that you're coloring something in, or like you're grabbing inks, then I would grab the any paper that has like all the colors on it, like whether it's a print or a stripe, and go through this and grab your ink colors or colors of something that you are going to color an image with, and then you're sure that it'll match with everything if you have colors that match the pattern paper. Sometimes I'll even use the pattern paper as a bit of a color palette. So even if I'm not using a lot of the paper, if I like these colors and I use it as a color palette for maybe inks or coloring an image, then I know it's going to look good together. And it may be stuff that I hadn't thought about putting together either. Okay, so we've got little banners. Thanks, Denise. And then they have a few little, they've got the title, they've got a few little embellishments. So let's see what we can put on here for embellishments. Sometimes I do like cutting things out, but we have all these fun stickers. Love this little rainbow. That could be cute right on there. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. When I kind of have an idea that I'm ready to glue something down, then I just go ahead. So Janice, you said you're new to scrapbooking. What kind of pictures are you scrapbooking? Are you scrapbooking pets or family or trips? Okay, so we've got our little banners there. And I do kind of like this rainbow. We could also come in with any of these elements. These are great for layering as well. You don't always have to write something specific on them, but if you wanted, to use something and then layer on, that works as well. I'm going to put this on, but I'm going to take the sticky off of the back. This is the Tailored Expressions powder tool, and then it's more like a cardstock, piece of cardstock, and then we can come in with our foam adhesive, and I just feel like then it doesn't stick to things it shouldn't, and we'll layer that on. I also want a couple pieces over here, a couple embellishments. So we could, I like to do some things flat and then some things raised. So if I wanted to use one of the pieces or one of the foam stickers and layer it over maybe one of the stickers, we could do that. And just kind of eyeballing to see what, I love this flower. Oh, I think I was saying earlier that Simple Stories, some of their collections are the same color palette but a different theme, but you can mix and match the papers from those collections. The little glasses are really cute, and I really like that little owl, but I don't know what I would layer him up with on this. And this is usually the part that it takes me the longest to kind of go through and add things. The little pens, those are cute. Let's see, or we could do something like these books and then the pens on top of it. Let's see how that looks. And this, I didn't really press it down super strong, so we can still layer things. I think we'll do this. Okay, we've got this little container of pens. And then we've got this little cluster that's here. Okay, so that can be pressed down. And then we'll put this on so it's overlapping, but we've still got room to write grade 7. And we'll just see if there's anything else. I love these stars. They're like the hand-drawn stars. Let's see. You made a mini album. Well, that's awesome in the group. I will have to go look for that. You have a nephew, aw, and you're doing his first album next year. That's so cute. I really need to get onto my grandson's baby album. I've got lots of photos. I need to get going on that because Amy does have a photo album. Erica's 13 and a half and hers is not done. But I think you guys probably understand where I'm coming from. We have all these ideas and sometimes we just don't have time for them all, but that's okay. They're on my list. So we've got a couple, I'm going to put a star. See that my other daughter's home and my dog is going to probably bark insanely, so I'm going to try and finish this up. I'm going to put some of these enamel dots. And let's see, I'm just doing them kind of in a, like this would be a triangle embellishment, and then I'll do the same thing up here. There we go. And then I'll take a photo of this and I will post it in the group. I may do some pen stitching along here just so it looks like they're stitched on. And this is our back to school layout. using the Simple Stories book fair collection. So thank you guys for all stopping in and hanging out. I hope you have a great weekend and get some crafting done. And thanks so much for watching. Check out the scrapshots.com website if you're interested in looking at the registration for Scrapaganza, which is in September. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.